and welcome to the place for mantra meditation and wisdom talks. My name is Jagannath, and today we have Acyuta Gopi, part 3 of our series delving into Kirtan. So today we're going to be talking about Kirtan is our life. So I'm really looking forward to all of you joining today. Thank you, Destiny. I can see you're on. Thank you, Kamini. Thank you for coming. And please do ask your questions. Really want everybody to be asking their questions. This is your time to ask some questions. And it's an interactive talk. So I really want to do that. And I'm going to bring on Acyuta Gopi right now onto the screen. And really looking forward to this. You know, the whole week. This is our third one. And here she comes. Just like magic. You are there. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's like they say, Sangha, for those that don't know out there, Sangha means association. Having some amazing sadhu Sangha, some, spiritual association is key. So
Yeah.
I tell you, that's what's been happening. And even though we are just over the internet and speaking, it's been really nice. I've really enjoyed our last 2 sessions, and Kirtan is in my heart. And having you come here today and talk at part 3 of this is just amazing. So thank you so much for coming on again.
Thank you.
And today we're talking about Kirtan as our life. So, guys, if those that don't know or haven't joined the other sessions, you know what I'm going to say, where have you been? One thing I would say is that Acyuta Gopi, who you've got in front of you right now, she's an award-winning author. She has an amazing book out called Prema Mala, which we'll be talking a little bit in later on about as well. She's also a Grammy nominee, for the music that she does. She's also an international Kirtan facilitator. She's been traveling around the world doing Kirtans. I've just recently been seeing so many of her Kirtans just going viral. You came on Kirtan Yoga Birmingham, and we had the most amount of people watch that. So I want to say thank you to you. And also ISKCON Chaitanya, you were on theirs as well. And they just joined, and that went amazing as well. So your mood for Kirtan really touches a heart with a lot of people. So I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
And generally, you've been also a Bhakti Yoga practitioner since birth. And this is why Kirtan is our life. And so I just want to we've touched on a few topics about Kirtan, the moods of Kirtan, etc. in our previous sessions. For those that haven't seen them, please go to my Instagram page, Jagannath_Dasa. And then in there, you'll see that in IGTV, we've got the other sessions. But don't go right now. Go later. Because we want you here right now talking about this subject. So, Kirtan is our life. So, can I ask the question, why is Kirtan your life?
There is nothing that I've found that's able to be my solace when I'm feeling down, or the theme song of my celebration when I'm feeling elated. I haven't found anything else that completes me the way Kirtan does.
Wow. See, nothing that completes you the way Kirtan does. I can resonate with that, because personally for me, it was Kirtan. And those that may, the word Kirtan might be new to you, that means mantra meditation, but with music. And it really does hit a soul. Like, I remember when I started in the music side, playing guitar for a band and doing those type of things, it was lovely. But when I heard Kirtan and when I was doing Kirtan, it's another level.
Yeah.
I think it's the glue for me personally that kept me going. And that's the analogy I give to a lot of people, that when they talk about Kirtan and they say, why is it that your group is so tight? I'm going to come on to your Kirtan group. Why is your group so tight in terms of Kirtan? The guys that do Kirtan together. And I said, Kirtan is the glue that keeps us. Right? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. It is definitely the glue. It is the one thing that will transcend everything else. You can have arguments, disagreements, doesn't matter, whatever. But at the end of the day, when we come together and we do Kirtan, we are now connecting on the basis of something which is eternal and bigger than all of us. And that absolutely is definitely the glue, is the perfect word.
You know, and talking now about Kirtan, if we can go, there's so many expressions. Like when we're doing Kirtan itself, there is the different moods. I know we talked about the mood of Kirtan, but one thing that I would like to touch on is the different rasas of Kirtan, the different styles of Kirtan, and what. So, is it okay if you could explain the different styles of Kirtans there is from what you've seen, and what is your personal style that really hits you to the core?
So there are of course you have different speeds
Yes.
within kirtan. You have slow and meditative kirtan. You have fast and meditative kirtan. You have joyful kirtan. You have kirtan which sounds even morose and like a lamentation. And those all go into different tunes. And you have different ragas. And then you have different accompaniments that can happen within kirtan. But then you also have bhajans, which are songs of different bhakti yoga teachers and Vaishnav teachers. And so then you have all of these different prayers in the form of songs by so many teachers that give us hope, and they can express moods of prayer and moods of worship and the different ways that we can call out to our divine. And those all hold such a special place in my heart. But the thing about the Maha Mantra itself is that it can contain all varieties of prayer. It can contain all the different languages and all the different words that we might not even know to say at the moment. And so for me, you'll hear me sing Maha Mantra so much because it can express so much with just one small mantra. Just 16 words. That's it. Like, and you think, how is it that this one phrase can contain so much? And there are thousands and hundreds of thousands of different bhajans and different prayers, and they even come from different traditions and different parts of India and different parts of the world. And yet somehow the Maha Mantra, which means that it is the greatest mantra, the king of all mantras, still just those few words, and it's just variations of 3 words, Hare Krishna and Rama. It can
Yeah.
encompass all of those prayers.
So these the 3 words itself, like if somebody was new to the Maha Mantra, as the Maha meaning topmost mantra, the reason we'll explain why we say that. Of course, there's so many mantras out there. What do these 3 words actually mean in entirety with this mantra itself?
So Hare is addressing the feminine aspect of the divine supreme person. But it's also a call to the energy of our divine best friend. And not just any energy. The feminine aspect of the Lord's energy is compassionate. She is an embodiment of loving, loving, loving spiritual energy. So just accepting and nurturing. And then we have Krishna, who we've heard of so much. And the name means all attractive. Everything that is attractive about anything that we come in contact with in this world and beyond. All attractive, just beautiful and resonant. And then we have Rama, which means the reservoir of all pleasure, which, you get into all these like big words, but who is not looking to be happy? Who is there that isn't looking for just an oasis of peace and something that is pleasurable to the heart? That is Rama. So putting these 3 words together, we have this all-encompassing, compassionate, beautiful energy of our divine friend. Then we have the all-attractive nature of our divine friend. And then we have the pleasurable aspect of our divine friend. Who wouldn't want to associate with that? Who wouldn't want to just dive in and give your heart and receive the reciprocation coming back?
There's a really nice thing that I heard as well about the mantra itself, because we're first addressing the female divine. The female Radha is also another name, a more personable name. Hare is there as well. So we say Hare. And it's like, when we want something, when it's dear to us, who do we approach? Now tell me, guys, I want to see some comments here. Do you approach, when you want something, your father or your mother? I want to see some answers. Who is it? Your father or your mother when you want something? Let's see some comments coming up. Okay, thumbs up from ISKCON Chaitanya, but that doesn't answer it. We'd love to know what you say. So, who is it for you? Is it your father or your mother that you would go to? And as you're thinking or contemplating on this, similarly here. Oh, okay, so Shalini is saying mother. Okay, and I agree. Mother, always, I think Carmony's put as well. So thank you for that, Carmony. Oh, father for Mira. Vishaka is saying mother. And we've got here mother first from Sonam. We've also got it from Shalini. So, husband. Okay, father. So let me explain. Okay, ISKCON Chaitanya is saying also mother. Thank you everybody for your points. That's really nice. So remember, this is going to be interactive. I'm going to ask you questions. So get ready on those actual, whatever they are, touchpads now. So when we want something, there we go. One person said, when we want something, I personally, like if I wanted a new thing, I remember when I was small, I'll tell you, a BMX bike. It used to be the craze. But these things weren't cheap, but it was really nice. And I come from a family, they're both hardworking people, but we're a normal family. And I remember still to this day that when I wanted something, I would always go to my mother. My mother, the reason I used to is because my mother would convince my father to get it. So similarly here with the mantra, when we address the female divine first, she will then listen to our appeal and go and say, hey, this person's okay. Give him a chance and persuade. So this is the power of why I'm personally finding this mantra so, because it has that aspect of the female divine as well as the male divine in it. And you don't see that often. You don't see so much addressing of the female divine coming out, and this mantra does it. That's what's been really, so it's the mother, we go to the mother, and then through there the father will listen. So does that make sense?
Yeah. And even if you think about in terms of whatever relationship you have, so even somebody said, oh, you address the husband, but everybody kind of has a sweet spot.
Yeah.
And just like you said, that's what we're trying to address when we call out to Sri Radha, when we call out. And in addressing Sri Radha as Hare, they say it's vocative. Yeah? So it's like we're literally, it's an address. You call out. So instead of just saying, oh, sometimes you might think your mom has a name, of course, but for a long time, when they ask you and you're a kid before 5, it's like, what's your mom's name? My mom's name is Mom.
Yeah.
So we have these intimate ways of addressing the divine. Instead of just, oh my Lord, instead of just, oh Lord of the universe, now we get the insider track. We get to address the divine by name. And then we get this vocative form, which is really almost like a child. So it's exactly what you're saying. When we call out Hare, it's not any less than calling out to Sri Radha, but now it's sweeter. It's more intimate. It's as though we have a direct connection with them. And that inspires the divine to answer and reciprocate with us.
I love it. I love it. And we're going to go into this a bit more in a sec, but one thing you mentioned was Kirtan and Bhajan. Remember that bhajans, and the bhajans, I personally, I find them very sweet. There's one that comes to me that is one of my favorites. Amara Jivana Sada Papidata. Nahi Koi Punya Lesha. And this bhajan is a bhajan saying, and everybody, the beauty of bhajans is what? It helps us to see, and it's these bhajans are composed by very I would say, elevated souls, elevated spiritual souls. And when we listen to those bhajans, it's like listening to their hearts, isn't it? And when we really listen, what happens is it really transforms us. And this bhajan is saying, "Oh, I am so fallen. I am so degraded. I'm so this." All the qualities that we would think is not correct of that saying, and that person isn't that, but their humility is speaking. So their humility is our reality. That's the way I see it. Their humility is our reality. So when we read these bhajans, it's like they're speaking to us, speaking to that side of us that, hey guys, you have these things, and let's try and work on those. And we're here through this bhajan. It seems to help to melt those type of desires, etc. And that's why bhajans for me personally is so special. So Kirtan, as we're talking, we can do mantras, Hare Krishna mantra, which is actually something, like you say, is key. That carries on. And these bhajans help us to elevate when we're singing the Maha Mantra, the Kirtan, even further. So it's like this type of pushes you, raises you up when we hear this bhajan and taking. I would love to hear your thoughts on bhajans as well.
Absolutely. As a person who loves poems and prayers,
Oh yes, Prema Mala. We're going to be talking about that. Yes.
I think I've gained so much inspiration from the songs of so many spiritual teachers, and not even just in my own tradition. Looking outside of my tradition, looking at different spiritual mystical beings, and looking at people who just love God, listening to their prayers, researching what they've said, like you said, getting a glimpse into their heart. That has been such an inspiration for me. It has carried my own devotional life and my own spiritual life in a way that has been so transformative. I find that I chant in a deeper mood. I pray with a different kind of depth, and I look at my relationship with Krishna with a different reality. And like you said, it's our reality. Their humility is our reality, but it also gives us hope that maybe one day, if we keep striving, we just keep chanting sincerely, we just give our heart a little more each day, we can maybe get a glimpse of what they are experiencing.
Yeah. Wow. And on that topic, like you said about their poems, and one thing that really hits me is a very nice mentor of mine, Sutapa Prabhu. He was saying that before he starts to even chant, and see, we're talking about japa, so there's kirtan and japa. Japa is silent meditation, verbally chanting, but there's no music, it's just you. And he was saying before he starts doing that japa, he will read one of the poems from the saints to get into that mood. And then because whatever you're thinking in the day, and this is a tip for everybody here, for those that want to go deeper in their chanting, or you want to learn about mantra meditation and you want to go like this, is first help understand the mood. And the way we do the mood is by reading the saints' poems. If you want to know more about it, DM myself or DM Acyuta Gopi. She'll send you some lovely things that you can actually meditate on. And what he does is he'll start with that poem. After he reads it, then he'll start the chanting. Now the logic behind this is that you can then focus more on the chanting. Why? Because remember, when you're starting, you're going to be thinking about, oh, did this go right? Or I've got this today. This is happening. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't write that email to that person. All this will be in your minds because we are human beings, let's face it. But after you read this poem and you see the humility and you see their love, it changes your heart, and all you can think about is that poem now. And then when you chant, you're in the right mood, and then it will go to another level. So that's just something, it's a spiritual hack, a spiritual life hack for everybody here. If you want to take it further, you want to go deeper in your spiritual life, then do that. Read from the spiritual saints. We call them the acharyas. and we'll send you a list of who they are and where you can get the poems.
Yep.
Let us know, and happy chanting. That's what I'll say on that point. But I want to come on to one point now, because you yourself, with the Prema Mala book, it touches on this, the bhajans, the devotion. So I want to hear a bit more about the Prema Mala book and how it can help that way as well, and what did it mean to you to compose that?
My hope was always that it would become almost like a workbook, almost like an extra journal. And I wrote it in the mood of just trying to be honest and trying to look at my life and say, okay, what is the source of all the anxiety that I'm feeling? Well, honestly, really, the source of all this anxiety is that I've forgotten about my best friend. And in forgetting about my best friend, how does this make me feel? We have relationships that we go through in life. Everybody can relate to, like, you know, at least one breakup where they just feel like, oh my God, I can't live without this person. I can't believe that I broke up with this person. How is this happening? And then I think to myself, wait a minute. I had a best friend and I forgot all about my best friend. How did this happen? And so I tried to be honest in writing about that. And it was a lesson in being vulnerable, but what could happen when you're vulnerable with so many like-minded souls who are just there to encourage and support you. So it's been such a journey, getting notes back from other readers who have like highlighted and written notes in the margins, and that's my favorite thing to see. Yeah, it's been really, really gorgeous just to see that other people are allowing me to serve just through words, which is something that I've wanted to do since as long as I could remember. I think when I was 8 or 9, I kind of realized that I wanted to write for Krishna, and it's been such a gift. It's made me think about my kirtan differently. It's made me think about my practice differently, and it's helped me to connect to other people.
You know, on that basis, it's so important to journal as well.
Yes.
Your thoughts and you know what you're feeling. So the first one is listening to those poems of the sages, and the second is journaling. You're hearing it from Acyuta Gopi as well, just on her books. You know, it's like a life journal. It sounds like, in a way, with some of the things you put. Can I ask you, is there can you just talk about one of the extracts from the book that has really hit you? That you say, you know what, I know it's all your favorites, but something that is, you know what, when I read that back, it just made me. Is there something you could share with us?
There are actually several pieces that I've read back, pieces that I've heard read by others, and even though it was 2 years ago, somehow whatever we connect with Krishna is always and forever relevant, and it becomes more powerful than I could have ever imagined. I just made a audio piece of the poem Color from the book.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was 2 years ago that I released it. And some of the poems I wrote even a bit before I released it, of course. But I wrote it because I was struggling with feeling like, okay, I'm not this body, I'm not this body, I'm not this body, but I live in it every single day. I live in this body every single day. I have to look in the mirror every single day. What am I seeing? What am I really looking at? I'm not so elevated where I can look in the mirror and immediately just see a spirit soul. I still see eyes and my nose and my mouth and all these features, and some people have things about themselves that they'd like to change. Some people have attributes about themselves that are their favorite thing. And I look, and no matter where I go, somehow the first thing that is seen about me is the color of my skin. And it's something that I've battled with my entire life. It's something that has been a cause for struggle. It has been a cause for celebration. But there have been dualities with it. And there have been all kinds of me having to come to terms with so many things about just the color of my skin. And one day I kind of looked at it and I thought, but what about this reminds me of Krishna? What about this can remind me of my best friend? And I'm a strong believer in journaling. So I started journaling about it. And all of a sudden, everything began to change. I looked in the mirror, quite honestly, and I thought, okay, what am I the same color as? And then I thought, my God, there's the dust of Vrindavan, Krishna's playground, his home where he grew up. And even if you think like, wow, even the dust of Vrindavan has so many different colors of brown. There are innumerable shades. You have the sandy beaches and you have banks of the river where the sand gets lighter. You have when Krishna ultimately has to go into the pastures and the gopis cry, the dust of Vrindavan gets darker with their tears. And then you have Govardhan Hill. If you look, it's not a hill like all the others. It's got light spots where it's greenish. You've got rocky areas where you've got this rich soil and it's brown. You've got caves. And then you look and they have butter pots that they make from clay. And those are brown. Then you've got Krishna's favorite milk sweets. And the moment you start cooking down milk, it gets more and more brown until ultimately it's the color of this skin. You've got Krishna and he plays a bamboo flute. And it's also brown. And then I started thinking, my God, what can remind me about Krishna? Everything. Everything. If I just take the opportunity. And so, even going beyond color, it's a call to think about all of those things that we are insecure about in our bodies, in our lives. Even if we're insecure about our weight, how can that remind us of Krishna? Well, the gopis were quite shapely, and Krishna loved them. They had full forms and full figures. There are people of all sizes and shapes and colors. There are gopis who are described as the color of lotus stems. So they're greenish in hue. So then we think of, wow, this is kind of amazing. You know, anything can remind us of Krishna. And the takeaway for me is that Vrindavan is a place full of rainbows. It is an absolute place of rainbows and filled with jewels and gems. And we can think of ourselves as all being just sparkles of Krishna's gems. And Krishna says, everything in this creation is but a spark of my splendor. It's like a famous line in Bhagavad Gita, that everything in this creation is just but a spark of my splendor. We are eternal sparks of Krishna's splendor. And anything about us can remind us of Krishna. So I urge you all, as a challenge, to think about that thing that you are most insecure about, whether it's about your personality, whether it's about your physical features. And then think about, how can this relate to Krishna? How can this remind me of my dearmost friend? I guarantee you it will change your life.
Wow. We are all gems. And the sparkles. I love the part about the rainbow, because it's like all colors, everybody. And the way you explained, the bamboo flute, the Govardhan Hill, and the different pastures and the greens and the rocks and everything, it's showing. I think this is what I find beautiful about spiritual life. When and we are all, we all trying to strive for that type of spiritual vision, should we say. And what I mean by that is that we say we are not this body, like you heard. We're the spirit soul. And when we are the spirit soul and we have that vision, then we don't see the externals. All we see is the internals. And the best way I can explain it to some people that are new to this concept, think of it like this. Think of somebody and maybe you love, okay? And that person, actually, at the start, it might have been their physical features, but now it's more to do with their internals, their personality. And now, when you see that person, what's beautiful about them is not the externals, but the internals. So, similarly, here, we're talking about from within, everybody. This goes for everyone. It's like when we have this aspect of externals, and another thing, just to quickly touch on this, and we'll come back to Kirtan, is that there's another thing. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and Krishna is the main person. In spirituality, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and also we always try to think of our perceptions, which are wrong sometimes, I would say. So we have to try and be open, try to see the beauty. I've really loved your points you just made. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know how much it's touching for you, and you shared it. I really appreciate that. So I want to come on to, if before I go on, there's some questions coming, but is there anything you want to add? Or
Just in addition to what you said, like you said, when you fall in love with someone, it might have been just one aspect or another aspect, and then the more you get to know them, the deeper in love you fall with this person, it's now internal. But everything around you starts to remind you of this person. And it can be the same with us and our relationship, our friendship with Krishna. So the deeper we connect with the divine, suddenly everything around us can remind us of Krishna. And likewise, because Krishna reciprocates, just think about how everything will remind Krishna of us. And
Yes.
everyone can remind Krishna of our relationship with him. So it just goes to show how we treat each other, how we treat others in our lives. Those are expressions of how we can treat Krishna, our friend, and how we can connect with our friend.
And this connection, what you're talking about, and this is where Kirtan, I think, really comes in, because when we're sitting together and we're doing Kirtan, it's like one voice. Even though there's a Kirtan lead facilitator, it's like one voice, everyone helping, regardless of your background, regardless of anything. We're all coming together. And I think that's what I love about Kirtan as well. That, when you see in a Kirtan, especially if you come to, like, you've got the Bhakti Center in New York, check it out. If you're in UK, we've got the Bhaktivedanta Manor. We got the our Birmingham congregation here as well. We've got so many spiritual centers around the world. And I implore you, go there and just see when the kirtans are going on, especially the Bhakti Center. I love seeing the online kirtans there. You'll see that everyone from all different race, creeds, everything are coming together and doing this devotion. And I think that's something I really found really amazing especially in the spiritual life that I'm trying to tread on and trying to go forward in, is this aspect of unity in diversity. And I really think the kirtans are so much amazing when it does have that aspect. I've seen it, but that's just maybe my own personal taste on that. But I just thought I wanted to share.
It's absolutely that way. The best kirtans and the kirtans that I love to do with my family are so interactive. At any moment, my brother will point at somebody and now it's your turn to sing. We all work together. Somebody else will sing a different section of the tune. Somebody else will sing a different speed of the tune. Everybody comes in and they have something to offer. And coming together and, like you said, singing with one voice, one intention, just one heart. That is the meaning of Sankirtan, Sangha Kirtan,
Sangha Kirtan.
Everybody's singing together. And that is why we have this supreme occupation for this age, this Yuga Dharma in Sanskrit, they call it, This is why we have this Harinam Sankirtan. Because when we come together and we're able to chant in this Sangha together, just with a mood of just spiritually uplifting one another, nurturing each other, being there for one another, that's where the magic happens.
There we go. The magic happens in that kirtan. So check it out online. There's so many kirtans going on right now. It's so nice. I just feel so connected. And the good thing is I don't have to buy a plane ticket. I can just hop on. I'm at the Bhakti Center. You know, I'm on the Kirtan Fest Global page. And everywhere, there's so many kirtans going on. So it's not that difficult now to find it. If you want to know some sites, again, get in contact with us, and we'll definitely help. I've got some questions coming in, and I thought if we can go on to that to bring it up. Oh, she started. Excellent. Okay, the first one, and this is leading up, it's to do with leading kirtan. So Ritak.xo has put, how important is personal sadhana when it comes to leading kirtan? Personal sadhana, if you can actually just explain personal sadhana before giving the answer, just so anybody doesn't know that.
So our personal sadhana is our spiritual practice. Sadhana does mean practice. So establishing our personal meditation, establishing even our home altars, or what our spiritual corner in our home looks like, right? So our own spiritual practice, how important is that to our kirtan, which can be viewed as something a little bit more external, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when we're leading kirtan, it's almost like we're giving, we're facilitating. We've now become like, you have a panel discussion and you've got a moderator, right? We become that moderator. And in essence, we become like a conduit for the prayers of those around us. So when we think about ritual and worship, we now become the conduit. We become that facilitator between the divine and this group of congregation, or the group of people who have come together to try and pray with us. But we can't give from an empty cup, right? We can't pour from an empty vessel. So it is extremely important that we connect ourselves first. We make sure that we are filled up as much as possible, which means that we can hear from those that we admire and those that we trust, our mentors, our spiritual mentors, hear from them, which includes reading the prayers and poems, like we spoke about earlier, which includes our own personal japa, the meditation time that we take to really just one-on-one connect with our divine best friend. It includes being in the association of those who are like-minded, those who can really listen to us and express their hearts, and who we can express our hearts to in a really honest and natural way, and say, look, I feel like sometimes my spiritual practice is suffering here. Can you help me? What can we do? And they say, well, let's all read together. Let's all chant together. Let's come together and nurture this person. You know, let's come together, form a protective circle of spiritual energy around this person and help them. We can lend our own spiritual energy, right? So then we then get to a point where we can come to the kirtan filled up and ready to be that vessel to the best of our abilities, where it's not about us. It's just about facilitating. It's about serving our friends, serving those around us. But we can't do it if we're empty. So we have to make sure that we are taking care of our own spiritual selves. We have to look at it and see, where am I weak? Where am I strong? How can I balance these things? How can I maintain that spiritual equilibrium?
That's perfect. There's, one thing, if I may, just on that aspect of trying to balance ourselves in that spiritual equilibrium, there's another aspect that, if you want to do kirtan, you can do kirtan. It's not a problem. You also at home, if you have a musical instrument, a harmonium, madanga, whatever it is you've got, and you want to do kirtan, do it at home. But what we're talking about here is, what's really important is, when you're in an environment with other people, it's important that, like you said, you got to be filled first. You got to have that spiritual cup must be full, because otherwise, when we give, what are we giving? And actually it can have more of an effect of it may not help us, because what we're doing, if we're empty and we're giving and everyone's like, oh, that's such a nice kirtan, I love that music, you're like, yeah, that was great. But if that humility comes when we actually, like you said, fill our spiritual cup. And then also when we're singing kirtan, we will then, when we give something, it'll help others too.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Yes.
that's the idea of kirtan. It's about raising, everyone rises up. This spiritual elevation happens, and that only can happen when we ourselves have something to give. If we have nothing to give, like you said, I love it. Then so do kirtan. Do it at home if you're by yourself. If you're not on that yet, but when you are doing in a spiritual center, then I would say please follow what Acyuta Gopi has said. Make sure your spiritual cup is full, and that it happens
Absolutely.
with practice, right?
And to that point, exactly what you said, it becomes, if we are not full, it becomes a detriment not only to others but to ourselves.
Yeah.
It creates a situation where we can become spiritually burnt out because you're giving and you have nothing, you can feel so burnt out. And then you feel that your taste for chanting is then lacking, it diminishes greatly. But then also, if we have nothing to give, and this is not even in terms of the melodical versions of singing. This is all an internal giving. This is the giving of the soul. This is about the essence of giving and about being a servant of the holy name. So it has nothing to do with skill set. We are not talking about, oh, you have to go and practice your scales. None of that. When we become spiritually full, then we're drawing on Krishna's empowerment, right? That comes from something beyond us, but we have to be able to connect first. And so if we are just giving, even based on our skills, what really can we give to the person who has everything?
Yeah, that's it. Only our love.
Right. And until we work on that part internally, then we're not able to connect with that love. But the minute that we tap in and we just say, okay, I'm here with the most sincere heart I have, then everything happens.
There we go. The magic happens then. Thank you so much. I love it. And by the way, everybody, you might be thinking, is there a sponsorship deal going on here with Dr. Dre? No, it isn't. Okay? We just, because last time we had some technical and some of you said, so that's why Acyuta Gopi is wearing her headphones, which I like it. It's red and red. So it's cool. And also I had a question, just coming back onto, not a question, a point made by Mira JPS actually. She says, there's a Prema Mala challenge where people read your poems out on Facebook, and she loves watching those offerings. So, hey, did you know about this?
Yeah. One of my friends in South Africa, she kind of started it, and she's like, I challenge whoever it is, go ahead, go do it. And it was such a beautiful gift for me. You never know how these things can touch someone. And I guarantee you, every single time I've heard anybody read any of my pieces, it has touched me in such a way that I can't even begin. Like, thank you is such a small phrase to express the amount of gratitude that I have for everybody and anybody who participates in those kinds of challenges. Usually they happen, it's like a little love note from my Krishna. And it'll come when I'm having like a down moment or even a questioning moment in my day. I'll be thinking like, why am I doing any of this? Why am I here right now? And then all of a sudden somebody comes in and they say, hey, look, one of your poems helped me to have a better day. And then I go, that's why I'm doing this. I remember now. Got it. It's a service.
Wow.
And it changes my whole day. So thank you.
How can they, thank you, Mira, for pointing that out. So what's the Facebook page called if people want to connect to that?
Everybody's doing it on their own Facebooks. It kind of like took on a life of its own. Yeah.
Oh, so excellent. So yes, so read the book, but you got to order the book first. So just so go to mybook.to/prema if you want a copy, and then we can you can get it be sent to yourselves. And then what did you find interesting about it? Put it onto Facebook, you know. I've got another question coming from my good friend Ian Nene, who, you know, I've got to talk with him tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that, Ian. Get ready. He says, what has Sankirtan helped you realize about yourself that you otherwise wouldn't have known? What a great question. I love that. So what has Sankirtan helped you realize about yourself that you otherwise wouldn't have known?
Hi, Ian. He's my friend.
Oh. He's both our friends. We love Ian.
That's right. So, first of all, I am actually really shy. I'm
really?
a super shy
No.
person.
You're hearing it here first. Acyuta Gopi shy. Put a thumbs down if you don't believe that. If I want to see those thumbs downs, put it on.
Yeah,
No hearts, thumbs down.
For a long time, in family company, it was fine, but outside of that, it was hard for me to kind of open up, and so then all of a sudden Kirtan happened, and you don't have a choice. You know, you've got to just kind of put it out there. And Gauravani, he likes to say, he's like, you know, Acyuta, I like your Kirtan because you're fearless. And actually, I'm kind of terrified all the time. But I think Sankirtan has helped me to find courage.
So Sankirtan's helped you find courage. Wow.
I have found courage in the holy name.
That's amazing. I know, and Krish has put so many thumbs downs. He does not believe that. Chaitanya HPS is saying, you know, he's been nice. He's put some smile faces. Lovely. So let's on that. Let's go. And I see some Sonam Shoma has also put it down. Thumbs down. No, don't believe that. See, this is the power of Kirtan. Check it out. If you're an introvert, trust me, you'll become an extrovert. There
That's
you
right.
go.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm looking at the time. But this question, I wish we had more time. Time is Krishna.
That's right.
We need more Krishna.
He said it himself.
So he says, Shalini's asking here, how do you maintain the same mood every day when we chant our rounds? So in here she's put 16 rounds, but our rounds, so our japa. It's easy to get diverted in our thoughts other than Krishna.
Of course. And you answered that so beautifully by giving the example of being able to read a prayer from one of our teachers at the beginning. But also, depending upon how long our meditation sessions go, sometimes these meditations can last like 2 hours and some more, you know? How are we supposed to maintain that kind of focus? And for me, it helps to take a moment and just bring the focus back and realize that, okay, my mind's diverting again, and it's okay. It's going to keep doing that. But the more that I bring it back, I find that the more that I'm able to maintain that focus for longer periods of time. And I have to constantly bring the mind back. And sometimes, and like you, I've also will read prayers and think about bhajans and think about the meanings of them. And then sometimes I'll stop in the middle. I'll do a short section, maybe 20 minutes, and then I'll stop and think about and read another one. And choose another mood, you know, and think, okay, let's bring the mind back. Let's give it something else to focus on. Let's give it more. And in that way, it becomes a little bit of an adventure. I'll challenge myself, you know, how long can I go thinking about Krishna? You know, how long have I gone? Think about it. Challenge yourself. Remind yourself that, okay, what is this really for? This is not a punishment. It's supposed to be pleasurable. You know, it's to bring peace and bring happiness, not only to ourselves, but to the heart of our best friend. If we think about our best friends waiting all day just to talk to us, just to connect with us, and we've been keeping them waiting all day, and then finally, we pick up the phone, we call them. So we can think about our mantra meditation just like that. Our japa meditation is our call to our best friend.
There you go. A call to our best friend. Remember that. Copyright that. I love it.
Put it on shirts.
Actually, that's a good idea.
Get a japa bag and on the bottom it says, call your best friend.
I'm gonna just put some comments out there. Dharma Shakti is saying, I love your courage. I see it and I feel it. Wow, that's
Thank
so
you.
nice. Krish, he says, I don't think Mataji is shy. She is my inspiration and she's the inspiration of many. And Dharma Shakti also added, you come from the heart and it's very transparent. Mira is saying, please keep doing these lives. Love the energy in the topics. My humble request. We will try and fulfill your request as much as we can. And oh, Crystal Days is saying, so honest, beautiful. Thank you. Ananda Monet is just put on
Hey.
there. Hey, Ananda. She's put, love this. Call to our best friend. There we go. Make that call, guys. Make that call. So, talking about that call, I've had a lovely request as well from Sanjay. He's saying, glad to see here. One Kirtan, please. So maybe we can have a 5-minute Kirtan. I wish we had more time. But a lovely 5-minute Kirtan together. And so, everyone, those that have, Acyuta Gopi, when she does Kirtan, it just melts the heart. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
And here we go.
Let's do it. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Govind Radha, Govind Radha, Jaya Radha, Landaneshwar Radha, Landaneshwar Radha, Jaya Radha, Landaneshwar Radha, Landaneshwar Radha, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gara Hari Bol, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on again, Acyuta Gopi. Really, and giving us that solace of music and meditation. Really appreciate that. And for everybody, you will see, if you want to know more about the book, I pinned it in the comments. So it's mybook.to/prema. Please check it out. And like we said, Kirtan is our life. And it really is a way of revealing our soul and actually going deeper within. So I implore you, if you found today a session that you really felt touched your heart, then check out this book. And also, I just want to say, we've got these sessions with Acyuta Gopi. For me, is a true honor. She is one person for me that has been an inspiration in my Krishna consciousness. Always from the start, I've heard your music, your kirtans, and it's really helped to, elevate so many devotees, so many people even that want to come into the spiritual way of life. So I want to say a personal thank you on that for myself.
And thank you.
And
I find that I look forward to Thursdays so much.
I think we'll have to do a few more. So there you go. Acyuta Gopi said so. We will carry on, because this is definitely something. It touches my heart. So guys, thank you everybody for joining. Really appreciate your comments, your questions. This is your place. Like I say, it's wisdom talks and meditation. This wisdom is not just from us, it's from you. And we really love your interactions. We love your comments. And I also want to say thank you to everyone. I've been having so many comments and questions coming offline, just about generals, about spirituality, or just some question. Hey, Jagannath, what are you doing this? What are you doing this? How does this work? And so please keep that coming. Really, it's been enlivening to hear your comments, your questions, and inspirations. So connect with Acyuta Gopi as well. Her Instagram is lowercase.gopi, and of course she's on Facebook as Acyuta Gopi. And if you like, on myself, Jagannatha Dasa is my Instagram page, those that are on. And yeah, we just let's make this conscious community of spiritual beings. Let's make that conscious community of spiritual beings. So please keep in touch. Tomorrow, talking on this, I have our friend Acyuta. I have Ian Nene coming on, and he's coming on from the School of Bhakti. So in UK, there's this amazing place where if you want to learn about spiritual wisdom, which I love wisdom, by the way. If you want spiritual wisdom, they're amazing. So tomorrow we'll be talking about identity crisis. So please come check it out. Identity crisis, yes, we've all had it. So let's check this out. Identity crisis tomorrow with myself and Ian Nene, and we'll be on the School of Bhakti. And join me on my Instagram page as well tomorrow. So it'll be great to see you there. And all that's left now is to say goodbye. It's always sad. This time just goes too quick. So I just want to say Hare Krishna to everyone, and thank you, Acyuta Gopi, to you especially. And I look forward to more.
Yes.
Let's do it. Take care, everyone.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.